I Doubt It podcast with Brittany Page and Jesse Dollemore.
Welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us. Episode 960 of I Doubt It podcast. I am your host, Jesse Dollemore. Joined today, as I always am, by the lovely, talented, and indeed scholarly Brittany Page, everyone.
Boy, has it been another week. There's been a lot of communication that we've received from people. We're going to read an email. We're going to get to that. We always do call outs. We would love to hear from the audience. We love to hear from you guys. So make sure you are calling with your thoughts. Make sure you're emailing your thoughts.
Oh, that's a great cue for me to read the phone number. 657-464-7609. And you can email us the old-fashioned way at idoubitit@dollemore.com.
And before I read an email from a longtime listener, longtime supporter of the show, I want to do a couple of call outs because we are in the face of instances where YouTube will restrict content or demonetize content. And this happens based on certain stories that we cover, certain language that we may use in those stories. For example,
especially in this climate right now when we have a Nazi force of mass secret police kidnapping and murdering citizens. I mean, it's tenuous, and these media companies are bending the knee too often.
Yeah, like I just did a video about Grok. Grok is the chatbot that Elon Musk has handcrafted and that he calls spicy, as it is creating and disseminating child pornography on X, formerly known as Twitter. And that video was demonetized in part, and that can tend to also restrict it in the algorithm. There are other complications when YouTube takes action against your video.
Also, you didn't show any of the images.
No.
You just talked about it. Just talking about the treachery is being suppressed.
Right.
Yes. They are throttling the reach because, they have no incentive to share that content when they're not making money off it too. Instagram is banning it's a nightmare. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm just saying we're diversifying some of the work that we're doing. So you may be seeing more video uploads to our Facebook pages. You have a Dollemore Daily Facebook page. I have a Page Perspective Facebook page. That is an effort to diversify the ways that we are trying to get this information out. So if you are on Facebook, we're going to link to both of those Facebook pages below. We would ask that you go and like those pages so that you can get that content, share it directly on that platform. We're also on Substack. Both Jesse and I just attended a HUD whistleblower forum with Senator Elizabeth Warren, where two HUD whistleblowers gave testimony on the ways that the Trump administration is refusing to enforce the Fair Housing Act. And I wrote about that. So I'm going to link to that as well. So you can subscribe to our Substacks. We both have Substacks. So there's many different ways that you can be supporting the content that you like to watch, the stuff that you like to read, and helping it get boosted in the algorithm. Because I think people sometimes don't know how these algorithms work.
Yeah, I often see people I know, personally know, who I think want to boost the reach of the thing that they see online, and all they'll do is comment or like, wow, they don't like it, they don't share it. Like, you got to do all the things to communicate to the algorithm. That I know this sounds whiny, but let me also say this. It's not just our content. There's an organization out there, and I think they're working with Midas Touch, but Status Quo, they're on the ground right now in Minneapolis. I don't know those guys. I don't know anything about them other than what I've seen and the content that I have consumed from them. And they're doing the work.
Oh, yeah.
They're putting themselves in danger. They're in the field. They're in the thick of it. Support channels like that. It's not just us. It's like we always say about Patreon and everything else. If there's somebody else out there that does more for you, that brings you value, support them. In this moment, we need to be doing everything, hitting on all cylinders to defeat fascism. It's not about, what about our content? That's not why the fuck we're here.
Well, and especially related to Minnesota, the best way to get the word out about what's happening in Minnesota is to like, share, comment on whatever video you're watching to help amplify so that people can see it. A lot of what we're seeing in public opinion turning on ICE is that people are seeing these videos and they're understanding, oh my God, I don't want this for my communities. This isn't right. This isn't something that I want happening in my communities. And it's because of those organizations that are on the ground like Status Quo. And we're going to be playing a clip from them.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
So, it is very important to support those people like Will Kelly, who you interviewed yesterday, who got arrested out in front of the Whipple Federal Building in Minneapolis.
Pitch black. The video went up like 10:30. I interviewed him like 10 o'clock. The other thing that I wanted to say was the reason that folks out there are not seeing these clips, the brutality of ICE, the kidnapping of ICE, the murder of ICE, is because the mainstream media only shares just a scant a number of clips that are happening. It's because of independent media. It's because of people who are on the ground right now. Independent content creators, small content creators, short form content creators, not just YouTubers. That's why the message is getting out. And that's why it's incumbent upon you to share that content with your neighbors, with your friends, on your Facebook pages, on your social media accounts. So someone who might not maybe see it will see it. Someone who subsists on a steady diet of CNN, they'll be able to see it too. And it is helping because it's changing. It's turning public opinion against the Nazi fucks.
Absolutely. So let's read this email quickly from longtime supporter, longtime listener, Henry. Hey, Brittany P. and Jesse D. I wanted to say thank you for the reporting in Minneapolis. I appreciate your work on the ground as I love that city and the people and community they built. I visited there once, and if I remain in the States when I retire, I plan on being there. Hopefully the Nazis don't start targeting naturalized citizens, otherwise I'm fucked too. Dark times. I'm standing up and fighting these fash here in Texas. Secondly, I am now 45 with a history of colon cancer and polyps in my immediate family. Went and got my colonoscopy and they found 2 precancerous polyps and they were fully removed. Next check in 5 years. Thanks for sharing your journey and destigmatizing caring for one's own health. I have convinced my mom and brother to do the same. Love and solidarity, Henry.
Yeah, I love you, Henry. I hope you're taking care of yourself, brother. It sounds like you are. That's fantastic. Anytime we're able to talk about taking care of one's health, like I don't want to be one of those people that, I didn't give a shit about cancer before I got it. Because certainly everybody cares about cancer. Everybody cares about taking care of oneself. But, because our society is so weird about butt stuff or whatever, like, the prep, you have diarrhea. It's so, whatever. Take care of yourself. And to convince your family members to do the same is a noble, very powerful thing. So thank you.
On the Solidarity with Minnesota note, we are going to be linking to standwithminnesota.com, which details numerous mutual aid funds, numerous nonprofits that are helping people on the ground throughout Minnesota, not just in Minneapolis, because the entire state is under siege right now by the federal government. And if you've been looking at these videos and you've been thinking, I can't get to Minnesota, I don't live in Minnesota, but I want to support. I can't be out in the streets protesting, but I want to support. This is a key way to do that. So we're going to link to that in the description below. You'll find it right at the top of the links that we are linking to because it's really important to support people on the ground and remain in solidarity with them.
And another thing, if we miss something, there's a resource we're not including, we want it. So email it to us. Call us with that resource. We want to know what they are so we can have this can be a repository on every show note to get out there for people to have access to whatever the resources are, mutual aid, everything, just supporting the efforts on the ground.
Now, you may remember on the previous episode, we did spend time talking about what we saw personally in Minneapolis when we were there. Things have gotten 10,000 times worse since we left, and it only continues to get worse. And in that episode, we played a clip of a man who was just getting gas and was harassed by ICE. They were asking him where he was born. They were asking for his identity documents to prove that he was a citizen. And so there's been actually, since that episode, several videos that have come forward because people are recording, and we see that ICE is stopping people based on how they look, based on their race, making judgments, assuming that people may not be citizens and harassing them based on their appearance. Tricia McLaughlin, the what is her title? She's the assistant
chief spokesghoul at the Department of Homeland Security.
Okay, that's official.
Yeah, I think that's official. She's a spokesperson for DHS.
Yeah, she was recently on with Wolf Blitzer and Pamela Brown on CNN. And they specifically challenged her on this issue. They said, listen, we've seen these videos. The public has seen these videos of apparently the Department of Homeland Security is going after people based on their race. And even when played video evidence of this, Tricia says it's not happening, but then also goes to say that she doesn't know the context of the videos, but maybe these people that were stopped and harassed assaulted ICE officers before the clip started?
Told reporters yesterday that ICE may ask people to, quote, validate their identity when asked about Americans carrying proof of citizenship. Can you clarify what exactly that means? Do American citizens, as of now, need to carry their passports or other immigration documents to show that they're citizens?
I am so glad you asked this question because I think that there's a lot of confusion there about this. We have incredibly targeted immigration enforcement operations. So what's happening there is reasonable suspicion. If somebody is in the vicinity of this operation, of this target, then they could be asked for their identification. We've been vindicated by the Supreme Court, September of 2025. You all saw a case out of Los Angeles where they said we can use a reasonable suspicion. I think I've seen a lot on this network and other places where they're talking about this is racially based. Absolutely not. Racial animus is no place in DHS and is, of course, not used. We're using what is protected under the Fourth Amendment of the U.S. Constitution.
All right, let's dive a little bit deeper into that.
Absolutely.
I want to play this video of a recent incident in Minnesota that has received attention.
Do you have an ID on you, ma'am?
I don't need ID to walk around in my city. This is my city.
Okay, do you have some ID then, please?
I don't need ID.
If not, we're going to put you in the vehicle and we're going to ID you, please.
I am U.S. citizen. I don't need to carry around an ID in my home.
Well,
this is my home.
Where were you born?
This is my home.
Where were you born?
Minneapolis is my home.
So that video was filmed by a woman who, as you heard, said she is a U.S. citizen. Why exactly was she stopped? Was there reasonable suspicion, which is a legal bar, as you noted, that a crime was committed in that situation? And why was he asking her, where are you born? Like, what was he basing that on?
Sure. So either this is, and I haven't seen this video before, so there could be two circumstances here. Either this is a targeted operation and she's around the vicinity of it, around the target. There's reasonable suspicion because there might be a descriptor, or she could be 5'6" and they're looking for somebody who's 5'6". That could be part of it. They're looking for somebody. That could be part of it. The other piece of it is it could be, I don't know if she was obstructing law enforcement, if she was assaulting law enforcement prior to this, but they either had those Title VIII authorities under the U.S. Code 1357 or they had that reasonable suspicion.
What I absolutely love about this is we see the results. We see the fruits of people who assault law enforcement. They end up on their fucking faces or dead. The fact that they're peacefully sitting there harassing her, well, where were you born? Where were you born? That's not how assault would be met with questions. She's a terrible liar, and who believes this? This strains credulity. It strains any reasonable person's interpretation of what is taking place on the ground. They're literally walking up to dudes who are getting gas in their cars, not acting suspiciously, not monitoring ICE, not protesting, getting gas ostensibly so they can go to work, and being asked, where were you born? First question out of their mouth. This is Nazi Germany shit that we are living through right now. We live in a demanding papers society, and even Kristi Noem this last week said, yes, you can expect, like they just said in that CNN clip, United States citizens can expect to be stopped and required to present their papers, having done nothing wrong. Apparently, the presumption of innocence no longer is a right protected by the Constitution. We now live in a world where the government doesn't have the burden of proof to harass, to prosecute, to arrest, to detain, to question, to imprison, to murder. It's a different kind of society than it was 1 year ago.
Well, and they love to use this word obstruction of justice, getting in the way. Impeding
is also the other one.
Impeding, right. They say this about pretty much any activity. You could be standing on the sidewalk while something is happening in the middle of the street and you have your phone out and you're recording, and all of a sudden an ICE agent is getting in your face telling you that you are impeding their operations. You're not impeding. You're standing there and you're documenting. And the reason that they don't like that you're documenting is because all of these videos are getting put online and public sentiment is turning against them.
Yeah.
And more people are getting out into the streets and making their job incredibly difficult. You know, progressive activist Will Stansel is in Minnesota.
He's local.
And he's been posting his videos of participating in things like Ice Watch. And Ice Watch is like a very specific methodical activity where, you know, you might see protesters like the aforementioned DeWoke farmer, who is beautiful and fantastic and loves to call out fascist fucks. But Ice Watch does something different, right? They are not getting loud. They are not getting boisterous. They are following and they are documenting. And in that role, they are still being met with aggression and hostility. So we keep hearing this from people where they're like, I don't think protesters should be using aggressive language. Someone could get hurt. Listen, Renee Nicole Good smiled at Jonathan Ross and said, I'm not mad at you. And then he shot her in the face. Behaving, watching your language, these are things that do not and will not protect you. Fascism is going to fascism. And if you have something to say about methods of protesting,
you're on the wrong team.
You are on the wrong team.
Yeah.
You need to focus on the fascism. Focus on that.
Also, isn't Ice Watch, the way I understand it, it's like an evidence-based practice based on research that if you document violence and things taking place, it decreases or diminishes the occurrence of those instances of violence. I think I heard that somewhere.
Yeah, there was a really beautiful thread that was posted on Blue Sky, which I'm trying to find, from Nicole Bedera, who says she's a sociologist.
You found that quick.
Studying how our social structures make sexual violence more likely to occur. And in this thread, Nicole writes this: among perpetrators of violence, there is a very small share who are independently motivated to violence, but the vast majority of perpetrators commit violence to seek approval and status from others. This is particularly true among men who use violence to affirm their masculinity. The goal of Ice Watch is to surround that second type of perpetrator with people who disapprove of their actions. It will make them less likely to be violent, and we've seen that in some cases. That includes rethinking their original plan to tear a family apart, too. The success of Ice Watch interfering with ICE's mission is almost certainly why DHS keeps sending more agents to Minneapolis. They used to execute their raids with just a few agents. Now they need 6 to 12 to even begin to disrupt the social pressure to be non-violent.
Fantastic.
So that is beneficial. And there's many different ways that people are getting involved in intervening. And I like to see it all, right? This Ice Watch process is based on de-escalation, and it's obviously working because I've seen Will Stansel post, and he said he didn't want to get out in front of anything, but that he feels that he has seen kind of a decrease in some of the terror that has been happening over the course of the past few days.
I saw that yesterday, or the other day from him, that from his anecdotal position, what he's witnessed, it seems like there's been a little bit of a downtick.
Yeah, now, unfortunately, ICE has continued to lash out and abuse people, including people that are not at all involved in the protests, that are trying to escape, including with their 6 children, in a van where ICE agents threw some sort of chemical weapon into the van as these 2 parents were trying to get their kids out of a protest.
Yeah, by the way, that's the point that needs to be drilled down on here, because the right wing and the Department of Homeland Security, the Nazis over there, these fucking liars and propagandists, they're saying that they were participating in a protest, and yeah, your kids got injured, but why'd you bring them to a protest? They weren't involved in the protest. They were coming from a sporting event from one of their children. It's just a family traveling together and happened through one of the urban assault missions of ICE, and they ended up with a 6-month-old baby in the hospital.
Right.
We also talked to an individual who was not involved with the protest, and he was just trying to get his kids out of the neighborhood. He had 6 kids loaded into his car, including a 6-month-old, when law enforcement threw a flashbang at his car, and now he has told us all 6 of his kids were transported to the hospital. We saw EMS come in. We expect that they are going to be okay, but obviously that father tonight is very worried about his kids. When he says he wanted nothing to do with this protest, he was just trying to get out of here when he got caught up in all of this. So it's a good reminder that this is a neighborhood. People live here, and right now there's a little bit of chaos.
I am begging the media to stop calling these masked, anonymous, secret police, Proud Boy force, this urban assault fucking squad of Donald Trump, stop calling them law enforcement. They are not enforcing the laws. They are assassinating, harassing, brutalizing American citizens and community members alike. Stop calling them law enforcement.
Well, in this couple, Sean Jackson and Destiny, they were driving home from their son's basketball game, and then they found themselves in a clash between the protesters and the ICE agents who are out here just wreaking havoc on communities. And so they saw stuff going down. They decided they wanted to escape what they saw happening, and so they were trying to get out of it. And this is reporting from the New York Times. Quote, the couple said they were able to get their children ages 6 months through 11 years out of the car only after Mr. Jackson kicked open a door. Ms. Jackson, blinded and unable to breathe, circled the vehicle, pulling out as many of her children as she could, she said. Bystanders arrived to usher the family into a nearby house, she said, while others set about removing the 6-month-old, who was briefly trapped in his car seat. Quote, my baby was completely unconscious, not breathing, Ms. Jackson said. She recounted talking to emergency services over the phone, receiving instructions on how to perform CPR on her child, while bystanders doused her other children with milk to neutralize the tear gas. Now, what is remarkable about this scene is how you hear nothing about the ICE agents who just gassed a 6-month-old, rushing to the aid of that 6-month-old who is now unable to breathe because of the chemical weapons that they just threw at a baby. And they're nowhere to be found. The people that are intervening to help in this situation, neighbors, community members, protesters, the people who are already on the streets trying to protect their community. The ICE agents who did all this, nowhere to be found. They inflict the terror and then they move along.
So stop calling them fucking law enforcement.
Right. And then
they're a masked goon squad. Even
in this article, it says Immigrations and Customs Enforcement did not respond to a request for comment. They do this, and then there's no accountability. There's not even a response. They sent 6 kids to the hospital, and there's no response. And this family, by the way, is a black family. And that is relevant because these people are going after everybody now, certainly, right?
Yeah.
It's not as though white people are safe, but we know that if you are willing and excited about targeting non-white people and terrorizing them, that they're going to put you out in the streets to do it.
Yeah, this is an all-out assault on black and brown people in America and white people who they would consider collaborators with the colored folks. I mean, this is just a replay of the previous century, and I'm not even just talking about Nazi Germany. In the South, if you were marching for civil rights, you were also a target of the KKK and white supremacist fucking goon squads.
It's why we're starting to see so many conservatives talk about white women, knowing their role, essentially. Will Cain on Fox News, you did a video about that this week. I think also Greg Gutfeld on The Five was talking about this as well, admonishing white women for...
It's always these weak-kneed little fucking pussies, too. They're not... For all this talk that has culminated over the course of so many years about traditional masculinity, the spokespeople for traditional masculinity are just thin, weak, ankled, just... smooth-skinned millionaires, elites, never done a hard day's work in their life, never joined the military, were not ever in combat, have not done anything traditionally masculine. It's all a talking point. Fucking cowards.
Also, it's kind of funny to me because I grew up with a very different perception of all of this. You know, my mom was like 6 feet tall, 225 pounds in her prime, and was fist fighting Nazis in the front yard. So like, it's kind of, a little strange to me to hear these men talking about certain prescriptions for the way that women need to behave, because it's a little foreign to me. I get that's how they, do it in their life. But what is beautiful about Minneapolis is the ways in which that the community is rallying. I mean, there are organizations that are rallying to deliver groceries to their neighbors who cannot leave their homes, because if they do leave their homes, they're going to be hunted by these people. There are all kinds of organizations that are mobilizing to support protesters in the street. And then, of course, there are people protesting. There are people in the streets. And it is getting cold in Minneapolis.
Oh, yeah.
And it's going to be very cold this week. Like, so cold that the ICE agents are not prepared. I've heard locals say, we're used to it.
Wait.
You're not.
Wait, bitch. Just wait.
And we're going to play a few interviews here.
They're already... Just let me sidetrack for a second. Have you seen the clip of the guy who's trying to grab someone and he's on like a berm of a yard?
Yes.
And he's like slipping a yoink,
Yeah.
yoink, yoink, doink, doink, doink. It's like a fucking cartoon.
Yeah.
And even protesters,
Yeah.
it seems like they're, I'm tripping too. And then they fall
Yeah,
on the guy.
yeah.
They're not prepared.
It's
Too many fucking Florida Proud Boys up in Minneapolis right now who don't have the mettle to deal with the acclimate weather.
It's beautiful to see, but we're going to play a few interviews with some of these protesters because I think it's motivating and it's inspiring. A lot of people, I think, sometimes we're seeing like this doomerism online where people are like saying nothing matters, nothing.
I'm hitting the table here, which is, I think, listen, it's easy to fall into that. But we need to all be aware that we need to boost one another. And this isn't an impossible situation, but we need to curb our own doomerism.
Yeah, and hopefully seeing some of these clips will help you feel inspired if you're in that place. This is one protester who said it doesn't matter what ICE does. They're not leaving until ICE is gone.
Have the sway here. Clearly, if they're throwing weapons at us, they're afraid. They don't want us here because we know we have power against them. Personally, I could be hit by flashbangs again, and I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to be out here for the coming weeks until ICE is off of our streets and stops terrorizing our neighbors and killing our neighbors.
Let me tell you, having talked to Will Kelly, DeWolk Farmer, last night during the interview, while we were waiting for his footage to upload on my end on the program that I use to do remote interviews, he's of the same ilk. Mm-hmm. He's talking about, I'm sticking around. This is where the action is. This is where I am needed as an activist, as a protester, as an American who loves his fellow Americans and doesn't demonize those because they have a different level of melanin. Their skin tone is not what is approved by the administration. And he's echoing that exact sentiment that you just heard from her. They're going to be here as long as ICE is.
Right. Yeah, it's remarkable to see, especially as the protesters are being brutalized for doing nothing. They're shooting pepper balls, they're pepper spraying them.
ICE is shooting pepper balls.
Yeah, they're spraying protesters directly in the face, almost touching them. I mean, some of these clips, you'll see the can is right in their face.
Oh, yeah.
The aforementioned Status Quo, we talked about their channel. I'm not sure if they have a YouTube.
They do have a YouTube channel.
Okay, we'll link to that for sure.
I just subscribed last night.
They have been on the ground interviewing people, and I think in this clip they are out in front of the Whipple Federal Building where a lot of these protests are taking place because it's where ICE agents are coming in and out all day. It's where Greg Bavino likes to make an appearance to have all of the ICE agents that like surround him as his personal protection just rush into the crowd of protesters and decide to randomly start abusing them because they don't like them at that moment, I guess.
Say what you will about Greg Bavino. I do love that guy's cookies. I love the ones that have like the little chocolate layer on them. What are those called?
The ones that have his likeness.
Yeah. The Keebler.
The elves.
Keebler.
Yeah.
I think they're delicious.
Yeah, the fudge ones.
Yeah, I don't know the name of them.
Fudge something. Yeah.
So
this is
Fudgems? Fudgekins? Is it some
I mean,
kind
if
of
that's
thing?
not what they're called, they need to hire you. Am I right? So Status Quo interviewed this older lady. I don't know how old she might be, but she's older. And when they walk up to her, she has a blue handkerchief and she's wiping her eyes because you can tell that she just got some sort of chemical weapon used on her. And they walk up to her to start asking her if she's okay and also if they can just, ask her what's been going on.
Shut up!
Are you okay, ma'am?
Yeah, I am.
Do you mind if we talk to you for a second, if you're okay?
Well, this is ridiculous. It's a waste of money, a waste of time. All these men out here for what? They're just doing it for money. Oh, this is terrible. This is unbelievable. This is the USA. It's not frickin' third world country.
Are you here from Minneapolis, the Minnesota area?
Yes, I'm Minnesota born, raised.
I can hear it now.
Oh, you betcha.
I love that accent. It always means usually a nice person. So
enunciate our words. That's what we do. Yeah. No,
So-
this is too bad. This is not Minnesota.
is this your first time getting gassed?
In many, many years.
What was the last time you?
Oh, down in Florida, Fort Lauderdale. They were clearing it out. It was time curfew.
What? So what brought you? What inspired you to come out here?
Well, I just couldn't sit home. I've been in marches and stuff, and I had to do something. It's so, what can you do other than wait till we vote again? But this is just crazy. I don't believe it. They have all these men for what? A few people that are against people doing wrong things. That's all. No, this is too bad. This is shameful. And a lot of them are young kids that don't even know the difference. They're going to regret it someday. That's all I know.
Yes.
Do you have hope that they're going to regret it?
Oh, I know they'll regret it. If they have any empathy for anybody, because what's going on is ridiculous.
Out of the road, or you will be arrested.
Oh, shut up! I'd like to meet him in person, giving orders. I mean, they act like they're so powerful. And, oh yeah, jeez.
Are you doing okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. Thanks.
Oh, what a beautiful human being.
Let me tell you, we encountered that person, not her specifically, but that is a person who exists every other block in Minneapolis. They are resolute, they are strong, they are together, it is a beautiful populace, unlike many municipalities across the country. It's unique. Minnesota is absolutely unique. They're not fucking around. They're not going to just lay down and like, oh, do your job, ICE. Kidnap the members of our community. They're not here for that.
Yeah, and this next story is another great example at a business called Rectangle Pizza.
Oh, yes.
And on the previous episode, you heard us talk about how when we were in Minneapolis, we would try to go into restaurants and the doors would be locked. And you would kind of be, looking at each other like wondering, oh, is it closed? It said it was open. I'm confused. And then you would see someone come over to the door, look around, and then open and let you in. And it was only after they confirmed that ICE wasn't in sight.
Yeah, you're not ICE, that
Right.
you're not assisting ICE. Also, and I'll throw a picture of this up. I took a picture of ICE not welcome, some sign in a little restaurant we went to.
Yeah.
And also awesome. And those signs are all over the place.
Everywhere.
This pizza place has one too that's even more aggressive than the one that I'm going to put on screen for those of you who are on audio. Go over and watch this video on YouTube.
Yeah. So this is a remarkable clip, a remarkable story, because Rectangle Pizza had been involved in community mutual aid efforts. They were organizing meals and they were doing like a clothing drop off with the business next door to them. And they were engaged in community efforts to help in the face of this federal takeover of their city. And ICE decided to show up to their business one day. And instead of that going their way, owners of the business, as well as customers of the business and people that were on the street, banded together and literally chased off the ICE agents who were attempting to go into this business.
New video shows federal agents arriving at a popular Minneapolis restaurant, but employees in the community stood in their way. Now neighbors say they continue to step up with those kinds of actions. Jason Rantala has the story.
We defended this community.
Surveillance video shows several men exit an SUV outside Rectangle Pizza in South Minneapolis.
And they stormed up on our door to try to get in.
But Rectangle Pizza co-owner Brianna Evans says employees and community members chased off those ICE agents after they tried to enter her restaurant Monday afternoon. Video appears to show those agents leaving, but not before deploying chemical agents, which were kicked right back.
We probably put a target on ourselves with that by helping people, which is sickening.
The visit comes after a Rectangle Pizza fundraising campaign for nonprofits.
You guys have donated over $83,000.
In addition to donating pizzas for each customer purchase for people impacted by the increased ICE presence. Just down the street, community members like Sid King,
if ICE is going to stay here, then I'm going to stay here.
Stand guard outside Smitten Kitten on the lookout for ICE.
We're sticking together as a community.
Inside that shop, an outpouring of support for immigrant neighbors.
We have people calling us from all over the world trying to help.
Donations pouring in, food and household goods for people trapped in their homes.
At one point, the store was just full, as are all the neighboring businesses.
So many donations that neighboring business, Twin Cities Leather, located inside the Umbra Arts building,
and I literally just took a broom and pushed everything to the back wall.
Made extra space.
48 hours ago, this room was filled taller than me with donations from the community.
Community members sending a strong message.
Minneapolis strong. Community first. They don't belong here. They're not this community. They're not what we believe in. We support and love each other, and you can see from that video exactly what happens when they try to with us.
In Minneapolis, Jason Rantala, WCCO News.
A Rectangle is now reduced its hours to have more staff present for each shift.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. And I would say this, if you're in Minneapolis, support this business, support these businesses that were just mentioned. These are people who are putting their livelihood, their very lives on the line. If you saw the clip of them having a gas canister tossed at them and they kick it back under the car of these feckless masked cunts, it makes me emotional. It is amazing to see people, and you heard it again. We're not leaving. We're going to be here as long as these motherfuckers are here. So great.
And that's why I think it's important to watch these stories, listen to these stories, and share these stories, because and it could just be bots, and I don't want to let my mind get clouded by the comments from bots, but people will come into the comments when you're talking about calling your representatives or doing this, and they're like, nothing matters. Why would we do anything? And it's not helpful, and it's also not true, and it's not useful to be, and I get getting down and feeling hopeless. I totally understand that. But these people are under assault, and they're putting their bodies on the line, and they're having their faces smashed into the concrete. They're having their neighbors disappeared. I've seen posts about gas pumps being left with the gas pump in the car because they took someone who was getting gas, and there's an abandoned car and an abandoned gas pump left in a car. There's serious shit happening, and these people are out here saying, no, we're going to be out here in the freezing cold. We're going to be out here until these people are gone, and we're going to literally kick tear gas cans back out under ICE agents' car. I mean, this kind of community resistance is so powerful, and we need to support it. And if you're someone who's in the comments poo-pooing methods of protests or whatever it is, or saying that nothing matters, it's not helpful. Maybe move out of the way and let people who are doing the things that matter and are going to make a difference, let them do their work.
Don't discourage people who will be out there, because resistance, obviously, it is fucking self-evident it does matter, because if they hadn't resisted, ICE would have gotten their way in the moment that you just watched. Instead, they ran with their tails behind their under their fucking legs and ran away. Because of resistance. It does matter. Protest does matter. Activism does matter. Organizing does matter. Pushing back against fucking Nazis in America does matter. You can lay down and be a Nazi collaborator if you want to. I, for one, will not do that.
And it isn't just Minnesota. There were national protests, ICE out for good. We saw these all over the country, and there have been ongoing resistance efforts to ICE, because ICE is not just in Minnesota. ICE is carrying out operations and terrorizing communities across the country, including...
And that's also being met with violence, by the way.
Right, yeah. Including in Los Angeles, including in Orange County, specifically in Santa Ana, where there was a recent protest, and these... agents, I think it was a federal agent, that's right, it was a federal agent, grabbed this 21-year-old protester and shot him in the eye. And
Point blank.
He will be blind for the rest of his life. He doesn't even see light in that eye. There's nothing that he will see in that eye for the rest of his life. And Caden Rumler, a very brave protester, 21 years old, came forward and shared a bit about what happened that day.
Were you given medical attention quickly? What happened after you were dragged into the building?
Once I was dragged into the building, he had me like down on the floor, and I remember seeing this pile of blood. It was like really dark, coagulated blood. It was like a pile bigger than my face, and like he pushed my head into it like this, and he just held me there, and then with his free hand, he was on top of me, and he was putting my hands behind my back really aggressively and handcuffing me, and I was pleading with him. I was like, call an ambulance, please call an ambulance. There's so much blood, please call an ambulance. I'm gonna bleed out, please call an ambulance. He didn't say a word. He was completely silent.
Did he ever mock you? Saying, you're going to be blind in that eye?
Well, that was, when that happened, it was so people, I couldn't see at this point, so I don't know who it was, but when they took me outside to go to the ambulance, which wasn't there yet, I was standing out in the cold, leaning against a rail, and they wouldn't let me sit because they were like, you won't be able to get up, so they made me stand, and I had no shoes on, and I was cold and shivering, and two people were talking. I couldn't see them. I couldn't see anything, and they kind of like said they were like chuckling and saying how I won't ever get to see out of my left eye again, just chuckling about it. And I remember saying, shame on you guys for laughing at the fact that I'll never see again. Shame on you. And after that, they kind of shut up and went silent.
How long did you wait before the ambulance came? Do you know?
I was really out of it. I was just trying to focus on staying conscious. So I'm not entirely sure, but it was at least 30 minutes.
Well, can you tell us about your injuries now and the prognosis? Will you be blind in that eye for life?
From what I've heard the doctors say and everyone else, yes, I will be blind for life. They said my globe was ruptured. I had my lower lid was cut up, and they had to take skin from my temple to fix it. There's a lot to it. I don't remember all the things that they said. I have fractures in my skull that they can't fix, and I can't sneeze or cough because it's dangerous too. I remember also when I shot, there was pepper in it, and I had pepper down my throat. It made it hard to breathe for a long time. They pulled a piece of plastic the size of a nickel out of my eye. They said I had shards of metal, glass, and plastic all throughout my eye and behind my eye and in my skull. And they also said that I had a piece of shrapnel metal about a few millimeters away from my carotid artery. And they said it was a miracle I survived, because if it got any closer, if it hit that, I would have died that night.
There's a few themes that I hope that you're picking up with these clips of protesters talking. And the first one that I want to call your attention to is the fact that in the face of this brutality and abuse and the assault on these people who are peacefully protesting, or sometimes in the case of the 6 kids that got gassed, not at all involved in a protest and simply bystanders trying to get out of a protest.
Existing while black.
Right. These people that are being assaulted are given no medical attention after they are met with force. And imagine that. Caden is sitting there, blood gushing from the eye socket. Also, when they dragged Caden across the courtyard, he was holding his neck, trying to pull the shirt away from his neck, saying that he couldn't breathe, and they just kept dragging him. They didn't care. This brutality is unbelievable, and they don't even render aid. They don't attempt to give medical assistance. That's been a theme that I hope you're picking up on. They do this, and then they don't provide any help.
And it's not a municipality-specific thing. I talked to Will Kelly last night after he was released from jail, after he was cited for impeding traffic.
Right.
Federal agents are now traffic cops in Minneapolis, I guess. They can just enforce whatever laws. He told me that in the holding cell in the area, he was stuffed in with several other individuals who were bleeding. He said he thought one had a broken nose. They were not receiving medical attention, and they had all been gassed. They had all been pepper sprayed, and there was in a room with very little, if any, ventilation, and they were all continuing to choke on because the gas doesn't dissipate. when we were in Minneapolis, and we did not get it anywhere near what Caden got it, or Will, and the people I'm talking about right now. What they do is they fire not one pepper ball, they fire dozens of pepper balls by dozens of agents, and it causes a massive plume of caustic irritant. It's a capsaicin-based pepper that is aerosolized, and it just goes right into your eyes and lungs. And then when we left Whipple, we thought, oh, we're fine. And it reminded me of when you were in the Marine Corps and you do go through gas chamber training, that they don't let you drive your personal vehicle because of the fact that when you get in, once you're back in the car, it all starts to release from your clothes, and then you could choke and crash your car. That's what they're doing. It's by design. This is cruelty and sadism by design by these masked Nazi fucks.
And I was very surprised because it was my first experience with pepper balls. And when we got in the car and we were leaving, I thought I was fine. And then all of a sudden my eyes started stinging to the point where I couldn't keep them open.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't even, I couldn't even attempt to keep them open. I had to keep them closed, and they were just watering. We
had to roll down the windows, rolling down the street at like 20 degrees or 30 degrees or whatever it was. The Uber driver's windows were rolled all the way down so we could air it out.
Yeah, and I was sitting there so confused. Like, I didn't even cough when it was administered. It choked off my scream at one point, and I had to turn around away from it and kind of get myself together.
It just impregnates in your clothes.
Yeah, and it was such a strange thing. And so imagine that, right? You have your eye shot out, and you're still also suffering from the effects of the pepper agent that they have used on you as well.
Worried that you're going to bleed out.
Yeah, it's...
And again, maybe just this will be the theme. Stop calling them law enforcement.
I also want to say, Caden, when asked if he would do this again, says, I refuse to sit around idly and watch this happen, and in 50 years, I would absolutely regret not trying to make a change. So even though Caden will be blind in his eye for the rest of his life, he says, no, I do not regret this, because he believes, like many of these protesters that you've heard, that they are going to continue to put themselves at risk because it's worth it to them to protect their communities from this federal assault. And I find that incredibly moving, incredibly inspirational, and something that we should all be supporting.
Yeah, listen, this is a zero-sum game. This is a binary thing. One side or the other is going to come out victorious. And if Donald Trump's side, if the literal Nazi fucks win, it'll be just a different country. They're trying to create a white ethno-state right now. And if we lose, if the resistance side loses, if the good guys lose, the bad guys win, and then we are fundamentally, structurally a different country.
Yes. So we would love to know what you think about all of this. 657-464-7609, or you can send an email to idoubitit@dollemore.com. You know, something else that's happening right now is a concerning aspect of the online discourse and information machine. And this has been the case for a long time with the internet, of how do people know how to find good information? How can they avoid misinformation, avoid spreading misinformation? And unfortunately, Elon Musk is really complicating that issue with his garbage Nazi child porn website that is called X. And if you're still on this website, very confusing stuff, especially to these massive news organizations like CNN, CBS, ABC. Like, if you are one of these places, there's entire governments that are getting off this website in other countries, in non-broken countries.
And by the way, not only because, but certainly in addition to this, not only because Grok called itself Mecha Hitler,
right,
but also because of the child sexual abuse material,
right?
The revenge porn type stuff. I mean, it's a fucking nightmare on the Nazi website, and it's still flooded with quote unquote credible people who not only are using it on a daily basis, but are paying Elon Musk money every month to have their little blue check.
Yeah, and this is what...
I don't get it.
This is what people are doing. You can request that Grok create non-consensual sexual images where you can undress women. People undressed Renee Nicole Good.
You can undress little girls.
They have undressed Holocaust survivors and put them in swastika bikinis.
Yeah.
They are undressing children and putting bodily fluids on the children undressed. This is so abhorrent that I, again, struggle to understand why anyone is taking part in this. Now the Pentagon is partnering with XAI, the company that is, putting all of this garbage into the world. But one of the mothers of Elon Musk's children, Ashley St. Clair, who is a conservative activist, she had a child with him. Since she had a child with him, she has come out and said, I've been undressed on this website. This has been weaponized against me. I want this to stop. Since she has come forward and talked about this, Elon Musk has apparently turned off her ability to make money on the website. He's threatening to take the child away from her, alleging that she's going to transition the child.
Right. Well, she's found her empathy, but only after her tragedy. So
certainly. Yeah. And she recently gave an interview on these deepfakes, on these non-consensual sexual images that are being generated at an unbelievable pace on this garbage website.
How does it make you feel when you see your likeness being manipulated like that?
The worst for me was seeing myself undressed, bent over, and then my toddler's backpack in the background, because I had to then see that and see myself violated in that way and such horrific images, and then put that same backpack on my son the next day, because it's the one he wears every day to school.
St. Clair, an author and mother of two, has a son with Musk. She's one of many victims of non-consensual sexual deepfakes created and shared by Grok.
Did you ask Grok to take those photos down?
I did, multiple times. Grok said, I confirm that you don't consent. I will no longer produce these images. And then it continued to produce more and more images and more explicit images.
St. Clair says she filed a report directly with XAI, which operates Grok. Some of the images were then removed.
When you think about the person who is leading this tech and making it available to the public, what do you want to say to that?
Make it stop. This can be stopped with a singular message to an engineer.
Last week, Malaysia and Indonesia banned Grok, while regulators in the United Kingdom have launched an investigation. A recent study by AI Forensics, a nonprofit that investigates the algorithms of major platforms, found that more than half of the Grok images they reviewed contained individuals in minimal attire, the vast majority of them women.
What do you say to the people out there watching who say, oh, she's got a bone to pick with Elon Musk?
If they want to say my bone to pick is the chatbot undressing minors and myself and stripping me nude, yes, you're right. I have a bone to pick with that. And I don't care who's doing it. So Elon's not special about me speaking out on this.
CBS News reached out to Musk and has not received a response yet.
Well, I'll tell you what his response has been, and it has been to say that he's not going to be held down by the woke mob, and he's not going to give in to woke attacks.
It's woke if you don't like CSAM. It's woke if you don't like revenge porn. It's woke if you don't want to use Mecha Hitler, a Nazi apologist AI system that denies the Holocaust. Yeah, it's woke if you don't like that.
I also saw...
Fucking Nazi. Tell me again how it wasn't a Nazi salute, everybody. Piers Morgan, when I was on the show. Oh, come on, that's ridiculous. That wasn't a Nazi
We don't
salute.
know what's in his heart.
It's fucking... Yeah, we do.
He's now explicitly posting about how white men are at risk of extinction, and everyone's like, we don't know what's in his heart still. We need to give him some time.
Straight up Nazi shit.
So hopefully people will...
Oh, I thought you were going to say hopefully he ODs on ketamine soon.
People...
That was in my head, not yours.
People will hopefully find their empathy before their tragedy.
And I don't just mean OD and like recover. I mean OD and die.
The views and opinions of Jesse Dollemore are solely those of Jesse Dollemore and do not reflect the views and opinions of Brittany Page, who is a far superior person and much more measured and reasonable in her views and analysis.
Just in case, we have the disclaimer, we might as well use it.
Yes. So hopefully people will leave that website and stop helping to elevate him. Although, our government is, and this is what happens when you're a billionaire, is you get to buy protection from the government, because this has been going on since at least mid-December. when it started really ramping up, and it's only gotten worse. And there's been no pressure from our government. You heard about all those other countries. You heard about all those other foreign governments that have taken action to investigate, that have directed their leaders to get off the website, stop using the website. That's not happening here. Instead, they're partnering with XAI at the Pentagon. And this
partnering to the tune of hundreds of millions of dollars.
Right, because they want to use Grok. Yeah. They want the chatbot that's creating the child porn to now work with the Pentagon.
So Mecha Hitler is now being paid as an employee of the Department of War with Pete Hegseth.
Yes, and I think it's important to talk about this story because with everything happening, a lot of things get kind of lost in the chaos of the news cycle. But Republican Michigan Rep Lisa McClain, her husband recently purchased $100,000 to $250,000 in private stock in XAI just before this deal with the Pentagon was announced. And
what a lucrative coincidence, Brittany Page.
I know, it's so interesting. Just right before it happened, and
just the luckiest stock trade in the history of stock trades.
Because of the timing and everything, there's some questions about whether there was any insider knowledge about this.
Are those questions coming from the woke mob?
Oh, well, I think this is News Nation that asked her.
Oh, so not the woke mob.
You're gonna absolutely love how satisfied they are with her denials and how quick they are
to just... Is it Leland fucking Vittert or whatever that guy's name is? That
I don't know.
Conservative dickwad?
I don't know which one it is, but they ask her the question almost to be like a, check, we did it. We asked her, okay? We did something useful. We asked her about it.
Your husband bought stock in Elon Musk's AI company, which is not publicly traded, XAI, in the private market just days before a report had surfaced that the Pentagon was expanding XAI's role in military systems. On our tablet, you guys can flash this up, the periodic transaction report from the Congresswoman. My question for you is, can you assure us, we've covered this issue of, conflicts of interest and what have you. Can you assure us this purchase was not based on any kind of inside information?
Yeah. 100%, because if it was, we wouldn't have bought 100,000 shares. We would have bought a heck of a lot more. But I also want to stop you because we don't even have your facts straight on that. It wasn't a publicly traded stock. It was, I think, about 470 million, of which it was a private offering.
Right, that's what I was saying. It's not a publicly traded company, so it was in the private market.
My gosh.
Right. But that leads you. It's the same question would apply whether it's publicly traded or whether it's traded in these private markets about conflicts, potential conflicts of interest. So that's why I'm asking if you could assure us that he didn't know anything about that Pentagon report.
And quite frankly, I think that's a very fair question to ask, especially with all of the insider trading that happens up here. But we got to have our facts straight. I wish, one, we don't have any, the Pentagon doesn't release that information, but I can 100% assure you that we didn't have the insider information.
Didn't have the information beforehand, right? Because I know there was some other scrutiny of your husband's investments in the past, but you're saying no inside information. You can say it.
I mean, that's what we do for a living.
Understand. Thank you, Congresswoman, 100%. For answering all the questions.
Yeah.
We appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Congresswoman Lisa McClain.
Have a good day.
You too.
Fucking fantastic journalism. Can you assure us that there was no funny business? Lisa McClain says, yep, I can assure you. All right, our work is done here. Fucking News Nation, man. I mean,
Jesse Weber.
Who?
Jesse Weber.
I don't know who that dipshit is.
Okay.
He is certainly he's a stupid fuck, though. It is in between, News Nation's in between a Fox News and a Newsmax. Like it's like Temu Fox News.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Chris Cuomo.
I love how
Leland Vittert and this dipshit Jesse Weber.
I love how close he was.
Jesse, right?
Jesse Weber, yeah. I love how close he was to something useful, though, on the end there. He's like, well, because your husband has been questioned before about some of his trading, and so this has been a problem before, but you're saying this time it's not a problem?
I love all the awkward shifting and weird awkward laughter. And then she says, well, the Pentagon doesn't even release that information publicly. Yeah, that's what we're saying, dumbass. You got the information inappropriately and you used it. You trafficked on that information. Listen, this is why the midterms are so important. We need a majority of Democrats in the House. Hopefully we can get rid of our absolutely feckless minority leader before he becomes the majority leader or the Speaker of the House in Hakeem Jeffries. And we'll actually get some teeth and some muscle behind an ethics investigation to shut these people the fuck down, to fine them, to censure them, to get rid of them from the House of Representatives.
Yes, absolutely.
Anyway, we'd love to know what you think about this. Listen, in the face of all that's going on with the masked Nazi force in the United States, still there are stories that we need to cover, and this is one of them, and they need to be amplified as well. We'd love to hear what you think. 657-464-7609. And of course, as always, you can email us the old-fashioned way. I doubt it at Dollemore.com.
All right, we are preparing to wrap the show, and we thought it would be nice to have just a brief moment of levity given all of the serious things happening. So we're gonna try to have a little bit of a nice time at the end here.
It's the asshole of today.
It's kind of a misnomer. It's not really the asshole of today, Brittany Page. It is the assholes of today. You're getting a bonus asshole of today.
Interesting.
We're talking about Robert F. Kennedy Jr. We're talking about Doug Burgum. We're talking about the Cyclops, Riley Gaines. I say that because I don't know what kind of depth perception she has, because her eyes are real close together.
So our first clip is RFK, and he went on Katie Miller's podcast. If you don't know who Katie Miller is, Katie Miller is Stephen Miller's wife, and she has a podcast where she brings on all of these ghouls to try to humanize them and ask them questions like, what do you like more, steak or lobster? You know, that's like the hard-hitting stuff that she wants to know from these people that are committing war crimes every day.
Do you like skin on your mashed potatoes, or do you like the skin removed before they're mashed?
Anything about the war crimes, Katie, anytime, all right? That's what we'll look forward to hearing about. So this is RFK, and he had an interesting anecdote about apparently Dr. Oz reviewing Donald Trump's medical records and something that struck him about that.
I mean, he's incredible health. Dr. Oz looked at his medical records and said he's got the highest testosterone level that he's ever seen for an individual over 70 years old. I know the president will be happy that I repeat that.
Why don't you just say what you really want to say? You know, you're sitting there like, Dr. Oz looked in his medical file and he had the biggest dick anyone's ever seen. His dick puts all the other dicks to shame. Like, just say what you're going to say. Just say what you want to say.
Donald Trump's sperm count is the highest of any fucking human being that's ever lived. And also, it tastes like fucking an Orange Julius.
Yeah,
when I'm felching Donald Trump. It's so good. You can't believe, Katie, have you ever tasted the jizz of Donald Trump from his giant, massive proportions of a hog? It's the greatest thing you've ever had.
Oh my God.
That's my RFK, everybody.
And was he here? Especially the felching reference. If you weren't following the Olivia Newsy, RFK, Ryan Lizza situation, then
explain it real quick.
Well, Olivia Newsy, a reporter, had apparently an affair with RFK. She wrote a book about it in her new book that she released that failed spectacularly, American Canto. And she was exchanging like love poems and love letters with RFK during this affair. And her former partner, Ryan Lizza, detailed a lot of this in his Substack, Telos News.
I don't know.
And in it, one of the references was about like felching. And I'm not going to detail.
Google it.
I'm not going to detail what that is.
Or
but
don't.
Just open an incognito window and proceed to search for that and make sure you're not at work.
We won't get into all of it. But yeah it was maybe just go read Ryan Liz's.
But it's just constant with these men who are surrounding and uplifting Donald Trump that are like obsessed with talking about how strong he is, how fit he is, how he's so remarkable for his age. And all it is because they know it's the easiest way to get approval from Donald Trump and ensure that you remain on the right side and you're not a victim of his ire or whatever.
Listen, Donald Trump can't stay awake for 15 seconds mid-morning. We're not talking about 9 o'clock at night. Like, I would be a little understanding if it was like, well, it's 11:30 in the evening. Of course, the guy's going to be a little sleepy. I get tired at night. We're talking about 11:30 in the morning. He's like, while people are filling, there's 50 people in the Oval Office talking to him, and he can't keep his fucking eyes open.
Also,
he's not virile.
Cut the delusion. He's going to be 80 years old this year. There is a natural decline in human performance, especially when you haven't ever participated in athletic activity in your life. And in fact, you believe participating in athletic activity takes away from your energy reserves.
Yeah, Donald Trump literally believes that the human body is like a battery. And the more, this is not a joke. Look this up. This is what he believes. And that if the more you exercise, the more quickly you deplete that battery.
Yeah, so you have to just keep your battery fresh with Big Macs.
You know how RFK keeps his battery flat? I almost did it.
Yeah.
He keeps his battery charged with Felch.
Okay, so
it's so good.
Riley Gaines also wanted to get in on this action and decided to talk about
Riley Gaines is the non-first place swimmer.
5th place.
She's the 5th place swimmer who always says she got robbed by trans athletes, even though there's like 10 or fewer trans athletes out of the tens of thousands in the NCAA.
Well, that's not going to get in the way of the grift, all right? Someone's got money to make, okay? So Riley Gaines is like sometimes on Fox News as one of these commentators and talking heads now. And I think on this one, she's on the set of Outnumbered. And she starts talking about and comparing Donald Trump's physical fitness to Minnesota Governor Tim Walz.
I saw this morning, actually, it was Dr. Oz who said that President Trump has the highest testosterone level of any man over 70 that he's ever seen. So you compare...
He knows that?
He actually went on to say, President Trump's going to be really thrilled that I said that. But you compare President Trump to someone, any of the Democratic male leaders, someone like Tim Walz, if you will, Mr. Jazz Hands. You ask any 20-year-old boy, especially on a college campus, who they would rather spend a day golfing with, President Trump or Tim Walz, you have to imagine that majority of them are going to say President Trump.
Talk to me about the millions.
You have to imagine, you ask any 21-year-old boy whose dick they want in their mouth, they're going to say Donald Trump, not Tim Walz, because Donald Trump is a man with great testosterone and orange Julius jizz. Too much?
You ask any 20-year-old boy.
First of all, that's a man. I was halfway through my enlistment in the Marine Corps at 20.
Is that the measuring stick now? We need to run everything by a 20-year-old. Is that what we're doing now? But again, Tim Walz runs marathons. And he's decades younger than Donald Trump. It's just absurd. These people, when the camera is off and they walk off that stage and they get into their car and they go home, I genuinely am curious. Are they proud of themselves? Do they wrestle with this at all? Like, how embarrassing it is that she said that. Is that like...
I don't think... Listen, I think Riley Gaines is stupid as fuck, but I don't think she's too stupid, so stupid that she actually believes that.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. So when you're going on TV and you're just lying and you know it's because you want the approval of the worst people on earth.
Yeah.
Does that get to you? I feel like it must in some ways. I hope so. Otherwise, you're too far gone. But, Doug Burgum is another one of these people who he was running for president, if you can believe it. When I say his name, everyone's like, who? What? But he actually ran for president. And he used to be a Trump critic. He was one of, like, all these other Republicans.
And a very vocal, very articulate Trump critic, yeah.
And now he's on this train, too. What is going on?
President Trump, he's against the killing. He is the king of peace. He is the peacemaker. And whether it's stopping the killing in Iran, whether it's saving the protesters that are there on the front lines, whether it's stopping the killing of soldiers in the Iranian Russia war, or whether it's stopping the killing of Americans because of the drugs coming in our country, Venezuela, this guy is the king of peace, and he's going to keep pushing American strength to make sure that we achieve that.
All right, Secretary.
Love when the King of Peace is out here ensuring that his armed agents of the state are, smashing people's heads into the concrete for doing nothing wrong, for engaging in their First Amendment rights, for using their freedom of speech, for filming abuses and ensuring that they get out to the wider public.
I don't know. I'm kind of convinced by Doug Burgum's argument. I mean, listen, it's hard to argue that Donald Trump is not the King of Peace. Brittany, are you ignoring the fact that he has a soccer peace prize? And now he has a Nobel Peace Prize.
That belongs to someone else.
It was regifted.
That's
it's a
right,
regift.
that's right. Yeah.
But it's in his possession, Brittany Page.
And
he's clearly the King of Peace.
Can we talk about that for a moment? That he's going to be 80 years old this year. Like you might think, I have some mental issues that I don't deal with super well. I'm still struggling with my anxiety. I'm still struggling with self-worth. I'm still struggling with insecurity. These are the things I'm working on, right? He is 80 years old and he accepted someone else's Nobel Peace Prize because he's so desperate to have one that he doesn't even fucking care if it was meant for him and his actions in life.
Well, listen,
he's happy to just have one. Think of that.
If the presidency of the United States of America doesn't fulfill him, it doesn't fill the empty void in his cold, shriveled, dark fucking heart, a Nobel Prize ain't gonna do it.
Yeah.
And certainly the fucking soccer peace prize ain't gonna do it.
Well,
somebody's Purple Heart that they were awarded for being wounded in combat, if that doesn't do it for him, I mean, what does? He's a sick fuck, Brittany Page.
I'll tell you what does. His giant dick.
Oh, I bet it is a massive, throbbing, veiny rod of a cock, I bet.
So
I mean, if you listen to the Felch King, the King of Felch.
If you listen to Dr. Oz, Dr. Oz is in there scoping it all out for us. He's letting us know what's going on.
They're picking and choosing which medical data violates HIPAA and what doesn't. Like, look, why is he not telling us his cholesterol level? Why is he not telling his accurate weight? No. It's the testosterone that's off the charts.
Yeah.
You know what it means.
He's a man's man.
You know it means that the testosterone is probably just like a dribble out of a faucet. Just like his urine stream when he tries to pee at night because of his enlarged prostate.
The weakest felch you've ever seen. So
we have to end on that. We have to end on the weakest felch you've ever seen. We're ending there.
Okay.
That's it.
All right.
Did you have something else?
No.
Save it for next time.
Okay. Yeah. We should just wrap it up now.
Sometimes a show just goes way off the fucking rails. You know what I mean?
You have to learn to find laughs.
Oh, you have to.
Where you can.
Yes.
And, we have to balance that. We're going to
backload with laughter. We're going to start with all the fun.
It's important. Yeah. We got to cover the important stuff. And then we also got to find some moments to try to laugh. And I hope that you are finding those moments, balancing the work that we need to do to ensure that people are not harmed in our communities, while also trying to find ways to not just be suffering and thinking about the horrors at all times.
Yeah. We'd love to hear from you on these or any other topics you'd like to hear from us on 657-464-7609. And of course, you can always email us, I doubt it, at dollemore.com. I would ask earnestly, please, not if you're on the fixed income, not if you're on retirement, not if you're on disability, not if you are struggling financially. But if you do have an extra $2 that you don't mind throwing away, we could make very good use of that to produce this show. You can go to patreon.com/IDoubtItPodcast and help support and produce this show that way. We love and appreciate you, and we will see you next time. For Brittany Page.
That's me.
I am Jesse Dollemore. And this has been episode 960. We're almost to 1,000. And I doubt it.